Senator Hawley.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Dr. Bhattacharya, good to see you again. Welcome. Two topics for you today. I want to start on the question of public trust. You were talking about it earlier, public trust and public health. One of the things that so badly undermined public trust in the NIH in particular, and I think you addressed this when you were before the committee the first time for your confirmation hearing, was the work that NIH did and funded at the Wuhan Institute of Virology for coronavirus gain-of-function research, and of course lied about it for 2 years or more. NIH denied that there had been any funding whatsoever that had gone to Wuhan, and then ultimately had to admit after public reporting that indeed there had been gain-of-function research with NIH money through EcoHealth Alliance that had gone to Wuhan. My question to you is this: has the NIH done under your leadership now a thorough review of all of the grants or other funding streams that may have gone not only to Wuhan, but to other labs in China? Do we have a handle now on what NIH was doing over the last decade plus in funding? I think this is so important because we were misled. I say we, I mean the American people were misled and lied to. And those of us who said, wait a minute, we think there's a funding stream there, we were called conspiracy theorists, kooks, crazies. It turns out it was 100% correct. So has NIH done a review of what funding streams have gone to Wuhan and to other labs?
Senator, I've been focused primarily on making sure that we don't currently have or in the future have. So I put in policies to have better oversight of foreign collaborations. I've worked very hard on the dangerous gain of function. We paused 40 grants that have some potential risk of dangerous gain of function and put in policy so that never happens again. Because that's, to me, that's the most important thing. We can't ever do it again. I'm working on the review. It's a long review, and it's gonna. And I'd love to work with Congress, and it's something that other parts of the administration are also interested in. It's a long, complicated story that unfortunately doesn't just involve the NIH. It also involves partners, foreign partners, and so I think it's something that we really should do, but we haven't. I can't tell you we completed it at this point.
Don't you think that accountability is important? I mean, don't you think to restore public trust is important that we level with the American people, that there's transparency, that we correct the record and say, here's actually what your government did with your tax money? Maybe it'll be little. I mean, maybe there won't be much beyond what went to Wuhan. I hope that's the answer. Maybe it's more than that. Whatever it is, I think the public deserves to know. And frankly, having been misled, this body was misled. Maybe this committee, certainly the Homeland Security Committee, was misled for the better part of 2 years when we were told over and over and over and over, no tax money ever went to Wuhan, no gain of function research. That was a lie. That was a lie from the leaders of NIH at the time. I think those lies need to be corrected, and the facts, all of the facts, however sordid and unpleasant they may.
Public trust in government health institutions is hanging by a thread. In a powerful Senate hearing, Senator Josh Hawley delivers a direct challenge to the National Institutes of Health, demanding answers on two of the most controversial issues of our time: U.S. taxpayer funding tied to the Wuhan Institute of Virology and the rapidly growing danger of AI and social media on children's mental health. This is a confrontation that cuts straight to accountability, transparency, and the future of public health in America.
For the institution need to come out so that the public can say, okay, we've cleaned house here. We've got some confidence in what our own government is doing with our tax money. Don't you agree with that?
I do agree with that. Like after a patient dies in a hospital, there's often a conference, a morbidity and mortality conference, where there's just an honest conversation of what went wrong. I think the United States desperately needs that.
Yeah, desperately. Well, will you make that a priority in your time at NIH?
Happy to collaborate with you and others in Congress to make that happen.
Good. I think it's absolutely vital. Let me switch topics now and ask you about the health of America's children. I'm wondering how closely you've looked at the effect of social media, big tech, social media, and AI on children's health. And I submit that this is increasingly becoming a public health crisis. Here's what I'm thinking. I've heard from parents who've testified before me and other committees that I chair that their children have been led to experiment with suicide and ultimately self-harm, and ultimately, in many instances, sadly, carry out plans for suicide at the behest of AI chatbots. The data on social media and children's mental health, children's physical health is astounding. Is NIH, here's my question, is NIH studying the effects of social media, including AI-driven social media, on children? Are you looking at that linkage from a health perspective?
I've seen those reports also, and as a parent myself, tremendously concerning to me. The NICHD, the National Institute for Child Health and Development, has a program on this, although specifically on AI and suicide, I'd have to look to see. But that's a focus to make sure that our children grow up in a country where they're not exposed to those kinds of dangers. And we're going to have excellent science on that. If we don't already, we'll make sure that to focus on it.
Good. We desperately need scientific focus on it. We need good science on it. We need good data. And I will just tell you as a parent, I've got 3 children of my own. 3 pretty small children. And when I talk to my fellow parents and when I look at the numbers, I mean, in a recent study, 84% of parents said that they were very concerned or at least somewhat concerned about the effects of social media on their children. And when you talk to parents who have had chatbots urge their children to harm themselves, harm family members, harm parents, or heaven forbid, take their own lives, this is a crisis, and it's not an isolated crisis. It is a systemic crisis in every school, and I dare say in almost every home across the country. I think we need to have a comprehensive look from a data perspective and a science perspective of what this is doing to our children so we can figure out what we're going to do to protect kids and protect parents.
I entirely agree with you, Senator.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
I think I see an RFP coming.
For a more profound political discourse, please like, comment, and subscribe for more further insights.